Time for a look at your West Tennessee forecast with meteorologist Brian Davis. For a look at your West Tennessee forecast with meteorologist Brian Davis.
And a very good evening, everyone, on this Friday. Well, so far, we've had some storms move through this afternoon into the early evening. And out of that, we've had a severe thunderstorm that got going a little bit earlier ago, and we're expecting some more later tonight. Let's go ahead and get right into our weather. Take a look at our watches and warnings out there. Right now, we do have a tornado watch that includes parts of Missouri just off to the north and west, but all the watches and warnings, at least across the West Tennessee area, are no longer valid. We will likely see some more of those going out in the form of some strong storm alerts later tonight, and we're going to talk about the timing, the very latest timing and details coming up as well. But right now, we do have the tornado watch just off to the northwest of us. We're not anticipating a tornado watch here. If anything, we could see the parts of northwest Tennessee go under a severe thunderstorm watch, which would mean conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms to develop. We'll be monitoring that closely this evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our live cams over in Memphis right now. We cooled down, got some wet roads there, 79 out there with east winds at about 10 miles per hour, dew point of 75. It's foggy, but you can see some of the blue sky just above as we're getting late into the evening here in the 5 o'clock hour, and we're at 75 here at UT Martin. A dark cloud right there in the distance over the school there, and then here in the Savannah area, we've got the dark clouds, and we've had some heavy downpours in and around there this evening at 90 degrees. Let's take a look at our temperatures across the board, the very latest. So we have seen a lot of areas cool down into the low 70s, like Jackson at 73 degrees, Alamo coming in at 73. We've got 75 in Trenton and Dyersburg, 75 in Dresden and Paris, Camden coming in at 75, Parsons at 73, but just down the road, we're not all of the rain has really gotten into all of Hardin County. We're still at 90 degrees there out at the airport there in Jackson, and we got 73 in Summerville and 79 at this moment here in the Memphis area. Winds are generally out of the south, which is typical when we got these stormy patterns expected. The radar showing some of those remaining showers and a few rumbles of thunder still moving through the West Tennessee area, where it's more active right now over into the McNairy County area, Chester, and just now really getting into the Savannah area, as you saw on the weather cam, some heavy downpours, a little bit of lightning going on there, and then also moving through the central and south parts of Decatur County. That's where things look to be the strongest right now. Again, up to 30 mile per hour winds, some occasional cloud to ground lightning extends from Mickey and over just parts of Selmer into western portions of Savannah, over into northern parts of Counts and Saltilla, Scotts Hill, right up through Parsons. So we've got about another 30 minutes of that heavy downpour and lightning, and then that is going to be moving off into Wayne County and parts of Lawrence County in middle Tennessee. And then we'll get a break in a lot of this activity. There'll still be some rain around, but all the thunder and lightning will be pushing out of the area. Then we've got to watch out here to the north and west. We've seen some of these storms already developing within the tornado watch area. And you can see that's the area that's outlined in pink out here to our north and west. And we could see wind gusts in that area up to 70 miles per hour. And we're looking at that to go until 11 p.m. Now, what's going to happen is the storms that develop there are going to move in our direction again tonight. But we've used up some of that energy with all the storms that's moved through. So we're not anticipating a tornado watch or anything tornadic, but we are anticipating for some of these storms to make their way towards West Tennessee and get in here more as a linear batch of storms that'll look a lot like this, like we've just dealt with. And again, we could have a couple of 2 or 3 of those storms we'll have to watch, I'm sure, that could become severe as they move through the area. So that's something we're going to be watching out for. Let's take a look at our surface map. All of this happening this evening and overnight. Look at that. A warm front lifts in across West Tennessee, got us up into the low 90s. Here comes a surface low, counterclockwise flow. Behind that, we've got the cold front that will be sweeping through to end this and take the storms into Middle Tennessee after about 5 a.m. in the morning. So going to be a lot happening overhead in a relatively short amount of time, and that's part of the reason we got this severe weather outlook that's going for the rest of this evening. Notice it includes the western half of West Tennessee. We're going to zoom in on this as we always do, but notice tomorrow that area of potential severe weather shifts to the east of us and to parts of Middle Tennessee. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this, take a closer look. Here we are the rest of this evening, including like North Memphis up to Dyersburg, Union City, Martin, Alamo, and surrounding areas are included in that severe weather outlook. But there's no magic here. The 1 out of 5 severe weather outlook is not going to skip middle portions of our viewing area. It's just that they update the map for midnight and beyond. And you'll notice it like hangs in there to the eastern counties right there. Well, just to the east, they've shifted it in the very latest outlook. It was including Hardin and parts of Decatur County, but thankfully that has shifted. But what's going to happen is this is going to be moving throughout the overnight hours. And you could just about draw all of West Tennessee into that marginal 1 out of 5 outlook, because anywhere in West Tennessee could see a strong to severe storm with some hail and brief damaging wind gusts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the features with this. Here is the tornado risk. Notice it's just off to our northwest tonight. The wind damage, 5% risk areas in brown, and I'm going to click on the hail. Notice that's not really being indicated, although we've already seen some hail in some of these storms. Now, east of here, there you have the damaging wind threat in brown, 5% risk. And that's all that we see there. But again, no magic here. This is going to be moving through all night long. And so you could extend that 5% risk right out through all of West Tennessee. It's going to be a potential there at around 5% in any given area of our viewing area tonight. Now let's look at timing. So on our timing, futurecast, here we are, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Notice we'll still have a little bit of rain around here and there, but watch here around midnight. Look at that. Another batch of strong storms. Here we are at 1 a.m. in the morning. It lines up along I-40 around 3 a.m. in the morning, and then starts to push south towards the Tennessee River around 4 a.m. And by 5 a.m., it's pushing into Middle Tennessee altogether, and then we take a sigh of relief. So we're going to let this play through one more time here too, and we'll get another look at this just so we can kind of soak in the timing. But again, a handful of showers, mainly a little bit of rumble of thunder there through about 10 to 11. But right in here, midnight, there's some mean-looking storms, some hail. There'll be some gusty winds, at least up to 40 to 50 miles an hour. Along I-40 by around 3 a.m. you can see, and then by 4 a.m., Parsons down to Savannah, and then shortly thereafter, 5 a.m., it's moving out. So going to be another adventurous night, much like we've had the past few weekends. Instead of being on a Sunday night, this is setting up more for our Friday night into Saturday. So I guess in some ways that's better than all of us not getting sleep to head to work Monday morning, you know? So again, here's just a little graphic I put together here behind the scenes. Again, the large hail threat is low, but we will likely see anywhere from pea-sized hail to at least dime-sized hail in quite a few of these storms, and we could have some nickel-sized in an isolated storm or two in there. That's something we'll be watching out. So just because the SPC does not have us in a hail outlook, that doesn't mean we won't get hail. A lot of times we still get hail, but it's just not as concentrated throughout the area, and not as many people gets it. Now, the tornado threat, again, it's not zero, but it is really low. It's going to be less than 1% in any given one area. The worst thing that would be is that maybe that one severe storm, much like last weekend, might try to rotate and produce something on the order of a low-end tornado in power. So we'll be watching for that too. But again, that risk is extremely low. The main threat is going to be that brief period of damaging winds like what we saw in the severe thunderstorm earlier tonight over some of our southern counties there. So let's take a look now at our hourly. Notice that rain chance kind of drops back some through about 10 o'clock, and then it starts to ramp back up into the midnight, into the early morning hours of tomorrow. So that's going to lay out just basically what's going to happen there is that a lot of us are going to start to get more rumbles of thunder into the early morning hours of our Saturday. That's when it'll be the most active. In fact, from 11 p.m. target time there is from 11 p.m. over the western counties to we could say about 4:30 a.m. to the eastern counties before it moves out. So a pretty good long window of opportunity that I'll be here throughout the night watching for any of those storms, and we'll be streaming live on Facebook and tracking any of those as well. Now, once we get into the morning, we'll be in the low to mid 70s, but we'll start to see the thunderstorm chance gradually taper off as we head into late morning, and most of our Saturday will be dry to follow. So a look at our weekend forecast. We'll be looking at about 87 there for the high on Saturday. Our days just shifted, so that 60% is really going to be more for the overnight time tonight into early Saturday. Once we get beyond about 9 a.m. on Saturday, that chance will be dropping off to around 20% or so for the rest of the day. Now, we've also got some isolated storms possible at 40% on Sunday, again, mainly during the afternoon and early evening. This doesn't look like an overnight thing, though, for us. And then on Monday, mostly sunny skies. But look at those temperatures. Going to be in the low 80s. So that is going to be super nice on our temperatures. And we'll be in the mid to upper 60s as we head into next week. Now, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast for the very latest here. There we have the upper 80s there on Saturday. Isolated storms. That's looking more right. Things are going on behind the scenes right now as we've just hit recently 5 o'clock, and the automation kind of kicks in there with my numbers, but this looks fine. Yes, we were showing 87, 88. That's fine for the high tomorrow. 70 for the overnight low, but again, those low 80s coming in for Sunday and Monday. Again, those upper 60s for overnight lows. That's going to be nice. And check out Tuesday and Wednesday. Wow, look at that. 87 on Tuesday, lots of sunshine, but then it's going to start to creep up in the heat as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. We start heading back into the old 90s, and by the time we get to Friday of the weekend, we're looking at approaching those mid 90s. All right, guys, that's a look at your 5 o'clock weather broadcast. We're going to be here throughout the evening watching these storms. Again, start watching out, too. Just make a mental note there about 10 o'clock. Look to the west because some more storms are going to be approaching out of Arkansas and Missouri. And I think by about 11 p.m., we'll start to see some of those trying to enter into like Lake County, western portions of Obion and Dyer County as well. We'll be here, and we'll break in as needed. Thanks, as always, for watching West Tennessee Weather Channel. Take care.
We are West Tennessee Weather Channel.